saying, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
It finally happened. The lawsuit they assumed would vanish quietly has now resulted in the most expensive television judgment in US history. Karoline Leavitt didn't just walk away victorious. She triggered a cultural earthquake so deafening, so destabilizing that ABC and The View are now facing what insiders describe as a slow-burning corporate implosion. $800 million. That's not a legal loss. That's an extinction-level blow to daytime TV's most infamous talk show. Whoopi, mute, Joy, nowhere to be seen. Sunny is reportedly calling her lawyers again. And Karoline, she's strutting like she owns the press. This isn't just a courtroom win, it's a media reckoning. This goes beyond accountability. It's karma broadcast with surround sound. And now The View, once the empress of midday ratings, is staring down a harsh new reality. Bankruptcy. Keep it locked because what we're diving into next is nothing short of chaos. We're pulling back the curtain on the collapse, every twist, every leaked message, every panicked settlement offer, and showing you exactly how Karoline turned the tables on a media giant. Before we get into it, slam that like button if you're fed up with the media's double standard. Hit subscribe so you're always first to know when the next media bomb drops. Did you subscribe?
There is
Good.
so much good
Let's
news,
break
so
down
much
how The View
winning
fell
out of the
from
Trump
daytime
White House
dominance
right
to
now,
courtroom
that the mainstream
disaster.
legacy media can't keep up with it.
The moment the gavel dropped and the $800 million judgment became real, the tremor didn't just shake The View. It rocked ABC's entire financial structure. In seconds, shockwaves slammed into Wall Street like a wrecking ball. ABC's parent company, once a media colossus labeled too big to fail, watched its stock nosedive. Millions in market value erased before the first lunch order hit the desk. Traders were rattled. Analysts left speechless. Financial anchors scrapped their scripts mid-broadcast. CNBC abruptly cut its tech segment to break the story. An unprecedented judgment obliterates ABC's market confidence. That noise, not applause, alarms. By the time Karoline Leavitt's legal team clinked coffee cups in celebration, the collapse was already underway. In Manhattan, high-rises, panic spread through ad agencies like wildfire. For major sponsors, brands you've seen every commercial break, pulled out. Not gradually, instantly. One network source described the chaos as a dam giving way. Every minute, another partner vanished. Phones rang off the hook. It was financial carnage. Ad departments froze. Scheduled rollouts dissolved. Product placements gone. The revenue engine that powered the VS lavish production just stalled out. This wasn't a bump. It was a rupture. And the worst part, most networks lean on crisis insurance when chaos hits, especially when talent goes rogue. But ABC's policy had a carve-out. It didn't cover intentional defamation. And that was what Karoline's win was anchored in. Deliberate, calculated, malicious character destruction. No insurance safety net, no financial buffer. This wasn't a legal fender bender. This was the Titanic mid-iceberg collision with no lifeboats. ABC's finance division imploded. Emergency huddles were held in panic-stained boardrooms. Legal teams swarmed the building like EMTs at a 5-alarm fire. Execs flipped through budget sheets like they were defusing bombs. One question echoed. Can we survive this? That's when the word no one in corporate America wants to hear began surfacing. At first, a whisper, then in frantic texts, and finally in leaked memos. Bankruptcy. Yes, that word. A young HR associate messaged her friend in graphics. They're murmuring Chapter 11. This wasn't paranoia. It was protocol. Reality sank in. Hiring froze across departments. Budgets were butchered. Studio travel plans scrapped. Security cut. Catering went from felt minion to soggy sandwiches and burnt coffee. Through all this, Karoline Leavitt said nothing. No press run, no posts, no smug commentary, just silence, and it spoke louder than any headline. Her restraint sliced deeper than scandal. As ABC's pillars began to sway and execs rushed to salvage what remained, Karoline remained steady, calm, still, watching. The View wasn't just floundering, it was drowning. And the woman they once tried to reduce to a punchline, she became the storm itself. Don't blink. This is only the beginning. Because right here, this moment, is where the empire begins to truly unravel. Because once that $800 million verdict dropped like a legal guillotine, the spotlight didn't just stay fixed on ABC. It zoomed in with laser precision on the three women who had become the unmistakable faces of The View. Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Host. Let's be honest, these weren't just television staples anymore. They were now walking liabilities. Overnight, the icons of daytime chatter turned into cautionary tales. Their public image incinerated, their reputations shredded, their futures dangling from legal threads even the sharpest PR spin couldn't salvage. And while the media fixated on the network's implosion, behind closed doors, an even harsher reckoning played out. One by one, the co-hosts were summoned not to their glossy dressing rooms, but to stark, cold legal briefings. No jokes, no glam squads, just attorneys with folders and facts. Each was told bluntly and without sugarcoating, they might be personally liable for part of that massive judgment. Yes, personally. Yes, financially. Let that sit with you. Whoopi. Gone was the trademark swagger. Insiders say she hired a crisis management firm, the kind usually reserved for fallen politicians and disgraced CEOs. That's the level of red alert we're talking about. Joy Behar, once the queen of sarcasm and sass, reportedly stopped showing up to meetings entirely. No replies to emails, no returned calls. One crew member quipped, she ghosted her own scandal. And Sunani Hostan, Meisel legal expertise herself, crumbled. According to sources, she broke down in tears during a closed-door meeting. Not staged, not camera-ready, real. Because she understood what the others wouldn't admit. This wasn't just a PR nightmare. This was career death. But it didn't end there. Karoline's legal team didn't just bring a lawsuit. They brought a sledgehammer. What they unveiled wasn't just evidence. It was a roadmap to media malice. Slack messages filled with premeditated cruelty. Behind-the-scenes clips of the hosts mocking Karoline during ad breaks. Producer memos explicitly assigning who lands the hardest hit. This wasn't live television gone off script. It was a televised takedown with rehearsal notes. ABC's defense tried calling it banter. Ad-libbed heat-of-the-moment talk, but the receipt said otherwise. Every line catalogued, every cue cross-referenced, every wink and smirk neatly packaged into a timeline of pre-planned humiliation. And then came the final blow, a backstage video no one was supposed to see, unearthed from deep inside ABC's archive. In it, Joy Behar sips coffee, laughs with a producer, and says the words that killed any remaining goodwill. Let's see her sue us for that. The arrogance, the flippancy. Well, Joy. She did and she won. The courtroom fell silent when that clip played. One juror muttered, "That's cold." In a single sentence, Joy didn't just sink their case. She torpedoed it. That clip crystallized everything the public hates about modern media. The smug detachment, the reckless jabs, the belief that power shields you from consequences. Turns out it doesn't. So Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role. Karoline's silence in that moment said more than any press release ever could. This wasn't just about winning a courtroom battle. This was about long overdue accountability catching up to unchecked arrogance. And for the hosts of The View, it wasn't just a stumble. It was a free fall with no parachute, no safety net, and no one left willing to catch them. The fallout was only beginning. And Karoline, she was only warming up. Now, let's take you inside ABC headquarters because what unfolded behind those sleek glass doors may have been even more explosive than the courtroom spectacle. Picture it. A polished conference room lined with leather chairs. A 40-foot table once home to polished pitches, champagne toasts, and smug certainty. Silence filled the room until it didn't. One insider likened it to a corporate funeral. Another called it the most chaotic executive meltdown ABC had experienced in its modern history. When the $800 million verdict dropped, it didn't just shock, it triggered alarms, literally. An internal security alert went off after multiple senior staffers tried accessing sensitive financial files. At the same time, ABC's crisis response team had been trained for scandal, not total annihilation. And in those first few minutes, they were paralyzed. Let's walk through the timeline. At 2:01 p.m., moments after the jury verdict, an emergency meeting was triggered. The email subject, immediate response, lawsuit verdict. By 2:15, the room was filled. Legal counsel, PR leads, network executives, showrunners, even Disney stakeholders dialed in via encrypted Zoom. The air was thick. Tension clawed at every breath. One executive slammed the table so hard a glass pitcher toppled. "We let this happen. We enabled this." Another, visibly shaking, hurled a legal binder across the table. "This is bigger than Don Imus. Bigger than Roseanne. This is legacy destruction." Then it happened. A junior legal assistant burst into the room holding a single envelope. A new letter from Karoline's legal team. The paper inside bore just one sentence printed in stark Helvetica. "We suggest you begin calculating liquidation options." Liquidation. A word never before whispered in connection with the View. This wasn't something to PR away. This was legal nuclear fallout, and they were standing at ground zero. The reaction? Absolute panic. Some executives called for immediate terminations. Fire Whoopi. Fire Joy. Fire Sunny. Burn the brand. Others pushed back, saying that acting too fast would signal guilt. "If we move now," one warned, "we're admitting we knew it was indefensible." The result? Chaos. A full-scale shouting match erupted. Fists on desks, red faces. One executive stormed out yelling, "I told you not to greenlight that segment." And in the midst of it all, a marketing insider leaked the results of a buried internal poll. The one that predicted this exact backlash if the segment was handled wrong. They ignored it. Now that poll is Exhibit A in a new wave of shareholder lawsuits. Yes, you heard that right. The reckoning isn't over. It's multiplying.